I wanted to come back today and kind of talk to, I guess, the school and a little bit about where I've kind of come from, some of the things I've been able to achieve and some of the dreams I've set for myself that realistically, you know, when I was in your shoes, I just spoke to Gutters about, we had Michelle Bridges from The Biggest Loser come. Now she spoke to us for about half an hour and I honestly said to him, I didn't listen to a word she said. I didn't know, much about her at the time. I knew she was on TV, but looking back, hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I wish that I paid probably a little bit more attention with some of the talks that came in and some of the knowledge I kind of missed out on. So, for the next kind of 15, 20 minutes, I'll go through a little bit of kind of my journey and what's kind of taken place. Like Peter said, some of the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations that go on as well. It's not going to be, I went here, I did this, and it was great, and life's, all peachy. There is a lot of hard work. There is a lot of times where it is really hard, and you don't always have the cushy lifestyle that it seems to be. So it's going to be a pretty open and honest talk. So I'd appreciate if you guys can listen, because a lot of the stuff that I'll talk about today is stuff that you can transition into your life and furthermore into your career, whether it's a job, whether it's a hobby, a passion, or whether it is sport you want to choose to pursue your life in. So obviously I grew up in Horsham. I started out kind of living in Sunnyside, went over to kind of Bennett Road near the Milk Bar, which was also a local hotspot for me. I was out at Three Bridges Road and then out at Warner Avenue. I was always a farm kid. We had my family side of my mum's side of the family was always on the farm, so I spent a lot of time kind of in the country. We was on motorbikes, shooting guns, driving cars, playing in the dirt, riding bikes. Those are the kind of hobbies that I wanted to do. Now I played footy and basketball growing up, and those were the two passions that really kind of ignited what I wanted to do furthermore. Now my father played both, and I played both as well. So no matter how long you think you have to make a decision, take your time. I didn't rush my decision. I let the decision take its course, and I said, what are the pros, what are the cons with each of the sport choices and the career pathway I wanted to take. Now when I was in school here, I walk around now and I see the new offices and some of the new buildings, and a lot of the rooms that I don't know what's in it just yet, because some of it's all changed and different. But a lot of the stuff I remember is sitting around in the courtyard and in the classroom, some of the teachers, the things I learned, the memories I've made here. This is going to be some of the best times of your life. A lot of the teachers, a lot of the parents have been in your position and will tell you that this is one of the greatest times you'll have, as a child, and it really is. Tyson and I have been best friends for a few years now, and his opportunity came one time when he was in Adelaide for a funeral. And I needed someone to train with. I didn't know him from bar of soap. He was just at the stadium that I was training at and said, you look tall, you look athletic, you can shoot the ball a little bit, you want to play one-on-one. 4 days later, my coach, I spoke to him, called Tyson and said, you want a job in Adelaide. So his opportunity came at the strangest of times for a funeral in Adelaide when he was living in Melbourne. So a lot of my opportunities haven't just come from I was really good at a young age and everything just went well from there. When I was young, I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I didn't make teams, I wasn't the best player, I wasn't the tallest, the most coordinated, I didn't have a strong frame or anything like that. You'll see some of the photos and I look at them now and I laugh at how funny I think I must have looked then and how good I probably thought I looked back then. So life has its way of playing out. So I went away and I finished my time here in Horsham, went to Canberra and pursued my dream of trying to become a professional athlete in basketball. I went to Canberra when I was 16 years old. So I moved out, lived there full time. Finished school there. I was doing automotive studies from a vet and VCAL course that I finished basically here. I had to drop that. That was my dream outside of basketball. I wanted to be a mechanic. But then basketball kind of took over. The opportunity to play internationally for my country, to represent the AIS on a world stage. Those are some of the igniters that really started kind of what I wanted to do, and the possibilities that came of it were just crazy. So I started off and I was doing the Australian Junior Championships. I played in the National Championships, like Peter said. We won 2 gold medals at under 20s. I was the MVP for both years, and from that the Australian team came knocking. We went away to Germany, we played in the Albert Schweitzer tournament. We were the first team in Australian history to ever win a gold medal. 3 players from that Australian team were in the All-Star 5, and I was lucky enough to be the MVP. Now all of a sudden there were other bells and whistles going off. Opportunities came and arose that I didn't think were possible. You have NBA scouts and teams looking at you, teams in Europe, Russia, Serbia, Croatia, Germany. all these teams and all these opportunities started to come out and present themselves. Now at the time I was only 17 years old, so I had no idea about life. I didn't know how to pay my tax, I didn't know how to do my ironing myself very well. I didn't know how to cook, I didn't know how to look after my body as a professional athlete. So all these things I had to learn. I just thought I was playing basketball. But realistically, life was a completely different lesson I hadn't learned yet. So standing here today, and you guys all sitting and listening and watching, what's going to come after school is up to you. Whatever you want to do, whatever you think is achievable or not achievable, honestly, believe it. Because whatever you want to do, you can literally do. I've now traveled the entire world over and over again now to every country, every continent, playing basketball, running camps, training kids, doing speeches, playing with some of the best athletes, coaches and minds in the world, from sports training to psychology to leadership. All these different things have come from an opportunity that I took when I was 16 years old. Now at the time when I was 16, I didn't want to go to the AIS. I was too scared. I told my parents I did not want to go. Now imagine if I didn't take that opportunity. Imagine if that one opportunity which could have bettered me, and I said, nah, I don't want to do that. I eventually went away, and I am so thankful that my parents said, just give it a try. And ever since that, I've tried everything I can. I've given everything a go. I've asked every question of curiosity to get better every single day. So whatever you think it is that you want to do, or whatever you think you can possibly achieve, you can. Like, it's that simple. I just signed an NBA contract with the Brooklyn Nets, and I signed it 6 days ago at 6:03 p.m. That one time, I will remember that date for the rest of my life. Some of those things along the way, when I first made my senior national team, the 4 coaches sat in front of me. It was Andre Lamanis, Will Weaver, Luke Longley, and Adam Capehorn. Some of those names may not sound familiar. Luke Longley played and won 3 NBA championships with Michael Jordan. If you don't know who Michael Jordan is, you need to go and Google him. If you don't know who Luke Longley is, go and Google him. He's one of the biggest humans you've ever seen. He's 7'2" and about 140 kilos, and he's athletic. I'm 6'5" and 100 kilos, so he's much bigger than me. So they sat down and said, we just had a 10-day camp. I got back from the summer league with the Utah Jazz. I come back, I literally land, I'm beaten up. My body's broken, I'm dying, and we have a 10-day, 3-day sessions for 10 days. 30 sessions in 10 days. I'm not saying we're running up and down, we're playing hopscotch and throwing a tennis ball. We are beating, excuse my French, the shit out of each other, grown men, 3 times a day to try and make this national team. I made that team at the end of it. They come in, they sit you down, they say, all right, have a seat, mate, and they sit around you like a judging panel, like Shark Tank, and they go, you didn't make it, or you made it. Now, when they told me I made it, that was the first time in my life I ever played for the senior Boomers Olympic national team. I played Aussie Juniors, stuff like that. You hear the anthem, you're with your buddies, you got your arms around each other. New Zealand's doing the haka in front of you. Those are good moments, like, don't get me wrong, incredible. But when those 4 guys said you made the team, I stood there, or I sat there and looked at them like a deer in headlights for about 10 seconds. Then I started to cry. I bawled my eyes out like a 5-year-old girl got kicked in the shin by her brother. And I bawled my eyes out for about 5 minutes. I was so emotional that all my hard work, all the time and preparation I put in for the craft I chose to pursue of basketball paid off. There was an adage called 10,000 hours of work. After 1,000 hours of work, you develop a skill at a high level. At 10,000 hours, you master a skill. My aim is to be the hardest worker in the room in every single room I'm in. So I walk in that room, I'm the first one in, last one to leave, and I'll absorb the most information in that day. And if I'm not, I go home and I'm so pissed off at myself and so angry. The next day I wake up and I make sure as hell that I am the first one in, last one to leave, and I absorb the most information. Because you can never learn enough. You can never acquire enough skills. So when I got told I made that team, that was the single most incredible feeling in my life. Now I've had those moments over and over again because I embody the whole mind frame of I have to be better than I was yesterday. And it's as simple as that. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, it's not hard, it's just hard work. It's precise, meticulous repetition of finding new information and absorbing it, putting it into practice, failing over and over again. I say so many things that are incorrect. I make that many mistakes, but every single time I make a mistake, it's an opportunity to learn, and that opens growth. Growth opens opportunities. Opportunities open different experiences in life. Now, I won't ever close myself off to learning. I will be the hardest worker in the room everywhere I go. I'm going to go to America now. I've got a month training camp with guys that are making $10 to $30 million in 1 year. I have to go in and outwork those guys, so then that's my contract. Because if I go in there and say, oh, okay, I signed a deal, I can go in there, I can chill out now, I'm kidding myself. Because I can end up somewhere else very quickly. So, a simple thing I like to do is, like a show of hands. Who here in this room today wants to maybe pursue an athletic career of some sort, as a professional athlete, getting paid to do it? Put your hand up, nice and high, if that's something you maybe like to do one day. Okay? Now hands down. Now what about if it's a job? Maybe it might be a trade, a beautician. It might be something different. It might be a hobby or an interest. And that's what you want to pursue. It mightn't be the norm, it mightn't be the streamlined thing you want to do. But put a hand up if it's a job, if it's a craft, or if it's art, if it's history, if it's teaching, a trade. Put your hand up if that's something you want to do. So, out of everyone in this room, majority of you put your hand up. The ones that didn't and are too shy, get rid of that. Curiosity will kill you. If you don't ask questions, you don't want to get better, you're just going to fall by the wayside and you're going to end up doing something you don't like in somewhere you don't love. So when I said before I met Tyson in a stadium when he was in Adelaide for a funeral, he trained for 4 days with me. Now, I'm not ever going to throw shade on any situation, but those 4 days, he was a regular basketball. I had no idea who he was or what he was or anything about him. Honestly, I didn't really care. I just wanted to go and get my work in, get better, because I needed to achieve my goal. Now, the first day we played one-on-one for 2 hours. So 2 hours is straight one-on-one. You versus me, that's the bucket, I'm going to stop you. I gave him not an inch the whole day. And I reckon, how many times did you score that day?
Maybe twice.
Twice. How many times I score that day?
Every single time.
Now that's not trying to blow smoke up my ass, that's just saying that every single day he came back in. I've played against that many people that I've kicked the poop out of them and they've never come back. They've gone, you know what, that's too much to handle. I'm not going to do that again. He came in every day for 4 days and, got his ass kicked. And every day he showed up with his head on my chest and said, let's go. And that's what you have to have. If you don't have that drive to be successful and want to do something that you love, then stop. Pick something else. Don't waste your teacher's time or your own time. There's plenty of people I've met and played against that are so much more talented than me. So much more talented. I was not a great student, as much as I hate to admit it. And guys will show that in a second. But the thing is, I finished here and I realized how valuable it is to learn and absorb information, to read books, to study, to put into practice, and to make mistakes. Because that makes me who I am today. I'm not just an athlete. There's a thing going on in America called More Than an Athlete. It's about athletes using their platform to inspire and help others in different communities and different situations. Having a voice on topics that are controversial at times. So I have the same right, just as all of you do. You influence the person next to you every single day. Whether you don't know, positive or negative. So one thing that I've tried to do in some of the schools, and I'm going to do it today, and I want you all to really participate in this. I want you to listen carefully and to do it. Now teachers, I want you to keep your eyes open when I say it, but students, when I ask you, I want you to keep your eyes closed, and I want you to put your head down. I want you to keep your eyes closed until I say open them up. I'm going to ask a few simple questions, and teachers, just look around. Just when they do it, just look around. Not yet, keep your eyes open, heads up. Some of you can't listen already, so you need to take your fingers out of your ears. But some of these questions are very simple. Some of them hit home a little bit harder. But as much as everything you've heard today sounds like it's the best thing in the world, and that we live a great life, it's not always that way. I recently wrote an article on the player's voice. If you haven't heard of it or haven't read it yet, I'm going to give the link to Peter. I'm going to try and get it out to all of you. I really urge you to give it a read. It touches on anxiety and depression and mental health in sport. Something I've suffered from a lot. Something that other people I know have suffered from a lot. I'm not afraid to talk about it now because it's something that I'm still overcoming. It's something I still face every day. You have options and choices and decisions to make in every instance. Where I'm going for lunch, what I'm eating for dinner, who am I talking to tonight, what am I doing at training, what relationships am I building, what am I learning today. Now I can make a good choice or a bad choice. I can learn, or I can just soar through and say, you know what, I hope I do well. And I don't want to do that. I always want to learn. So it's okay to not be okay. You've got to be uncomfortable to learn. So I say you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's okay to not be okay, to ask for help. So all the schools I go to, everyone I ever talk to, you've got a network of people. You've got a network of, different options at your school, different facilities you can use. You've got friends and family in a circle of trust. You trust, right? Put your hand up if you've got a circle of trust. So a circle of trust is 3 or 4 people you can confide in and talk to, and they can have your back and trust you. If you don't have one, I urge you to get one. Okay? So right now, all I'm going to do is ask a few questions. Alright, so students, close your eyes, keep them closed. Okay? So this keeps it confidential between the students. Alright? So if you're touching somebody and your shoulder's rubbing against someone because it's cold in here, just separate yourself a little bit so you're not touching anyone. Okay, so just shuffle next to someone so you're not touching, you're not shoulder to shoulder. Alright. So who knows what they want to do in their life? Just raise your hand. Nice and slow. Okay, hands down. Every single day when you come into school and you wake up in the morning, are you trying to get to that goal? Are you trying to get to that job and that dream? If that's something you consciously think about each day, no matter what it is, put your hand up. Hands down. So keep your eyes closed. Put your hand up if you don't consciously think about it every day. Be honest, it's okay. No one can see. Hands down. Put your hand up if you find the environment you work in every single day, whether it's your friends, whether it's your training, whether it's school, does that make you feel comfortable to learn, to grow, and to work towards that dream? Are you comfortable in your environment to make your dream a reality? Put your hand up if you're comfortable in that environment. Hands down. Put your hand up if you're not very comfortable in that environment to learn and to grow. Hands down. So keep your heads down, keep your eyes closed. As teachers, look around and see some of these things. These are simple signs you can identify and ask real questions without them feeling like, the spotlight's on them. So we've got a couple more questions. Who feels like they can come into school and they're going to have a good day? Put your hand up. Hands down. Put your hand up if you don't feel that. Hands down. Okay, eyes open. So as teachers, we have a responsibility. Now a teacher isn't someone in a position with a piece of paper. A teacher is someone with knowledge that's going to help you and inspire you. For me, that gives me chills. I don't know about you, but it gives you a tingle sometimes. To know that sometimes people don't feel comfortable to come to school and learn and grow. Now sometimes that's because of simple things like someone's picking on you. There's an instance at home which makes it hard to come to school and distract yourself with schoolwork when you've got something else going on. If that's an issue, or there's something at school that's bothering you, these wonderful teachers that I go around and I see walk in with glowing personalities and smiles that want to help and learn, go to them and talk. It's safe, you can do it. Because if you don't take care of this in here and the classroom, once you get outside, as soon as I finish basketball, I know what I want to do. I've got my finger in a couple of pies trying to figure out, okay, which one's going to work best first. And if it doesn't work, guess what? I'm going to go try something else over and over and over. So I'm not going to be satisfied with just being mediocre or being okay with participating. I want to be the most elite person in that room in what I'm trying to do that day. So today is just about trying to inspire you, no matter what your goal is or your dream is, to go ahead and just grab it. Nothing stops you. An excuse is something you make up in your mind because you can't be bothered doing the hard work. I'm not the greatest talented person in the entire world. I work for everything I get. He's exactly the same. Came from 2,000 people in his town. He has no mate. He asked me the other day when we drove in here, have you got a Macca's or a Kmart? I said, yeah, why is that? And he goes, shit, we didn't have one. I drove down the main street and I said, okay, this is the start of the main street and that's the main street. He said, oh, ours was finished about 10 seconds ago. He's come from a little town in Bury. If you've ever heard of it, or go to Google Maps and look at it, it's probably just a black X on a map because no one's heard of it. But he's come from there and he's in his 4th year as a fringe player. He's trying to break into the team. Now you think that's by pure luck? No. Everything we do will have an outcome. With that outcome, you decide whether you're going to positively influence it on yourself or you're negatively influencing it on yourself. Now everything we do, every action we do has a reaction. Every reaction, you're going to learn from a scenario. Whatever it is, I'm telling you today, and I really want to drive this home because this is kind of getting towards the end of it. I never thought I was going to be in this position. Ever. Like I look around now and I think, how the hell did I get here? And think about it for a second. Think about you wanting to get to whatever it is you're trying to get to. Just consciously think about it and visualize it in your mind. When you get there, that doesn't mean you stop. Just because I sign a contract in the NBA doesn't mean I'm going to stop. It means whatever work I put in a year's time after I get back from my first season, I'm going to look back at all the work I think is busting my butt every day. And I'm talking, we're getting up at 8 in the morning, we're training for 2 or 3 hours, then we have lunch, then we come back in, train again, and then we go back in later and we go and lift or we do conditioning. Then you go and get your body right, you do your rehab, you do your recovery, you eat the right food, you prepare mentally, you watch film, you're studying guys, you're learning your plays, you're learning their plays. All of a sudden, it's starting to carry an effect. So visualize your dream, because I never thought that amount of work was probably going to be enough, and it is, to get to where I want to get to. I'm going to look back in a year and go, whatever I did in that space of time, I'm going to work so much harder and so much smarter and be so curious and ask as many questions as I need to because I want to be the best at what I'm trying to be good at. So today, if there's anything you take out of this, opportunities come from the strangest of places. I sat in these actual seats. I walked in and got butterflies. I don't know if you know who Yannick Blair is. Everyone know who Yannick is? Put your hand up if you don't know who Yannick Blair is. If you don't, ask someone. He's a Paralympic athlete that came from Horsham. When he had his injury, he bought me a wheelchair to play basketball with him against. We used to come in here and I used to have blisters all over my hands because I wasn't used to pushing myself in a chair for an hour, so he could get better at his dream. There's no excuse. Can't use his legs ever again. He's gone to 2 Olympics, I think. He didn't play basketball before now he kicks my ass at basketball. He's achieved what I want to achieve. I want to get to the Olympics. I want to win a gold medal. He's done that. He's going to keep doing great things. So he's made something out of it, and he came from here. We were in here working out every morning some days, whenever we could. All it takes is hard work and absolute dead-eye, like meticulous practice. Learn, practice, and repeat it. Ask questions. You can never be wrong. If you don't ask a question, you're a fool. It's okay to be wrong and make mistakes. So, Peter's got some questions and stuff he's going to ask, but for me, thank you for listening. I really hope that some of this hits home. Because whatever you think is achievable from Horsham, you got no idea. Like, no idea what can be done. I've met some of the most famous people in the world, and I sit there and I go, like, I literally met my idol when I was in America. And he went past and said, "Hey, Creaky, great game today, bro." Gave me, dapped me up. And I did a soft ass. He just went like that. And I went, "Oh, shit." Oh, no. I was so nervous. And I didn't ask a thing. He just thought I was, I don't know, like I was just stupid. And I'm thinking, "Thanks." And he walked off. And 2 days later I saw him, I went up and I was like, "Okay, you got this." Walked up, turned around, I went, straight back. And then by the last day, I played a game and I made a play on an effort play that I make every single time. We're boxing out in the free throw line. It's a 1 point game. We shot a free throw. There was about 6 seconds left in the game. Get him a taxi. So there's 6 seconds left in the game. We're shooting the free throw. We're at 1 point. We shoot the free throw. We miss it. One of the young guys who just got drafted, who's guaranteed to make about $6 million this year, I am talking so much smack to this guy because all game I was under his skin. He tried to box me out. I effort played him, got the tip, made the tip, went up 3 points with 6 seconds to go, which means it's bloody hard to win with 6 seconds to go and it's a 3 point game. They got it out of bounds. I'm walking up, talking to him like, "Yeah," he's saying really nice words, asking him out for lunch. I ran back to the bench, and after that, the guy that I went up and met came up again. He said, "I love the way you play. I don't know where you're from, because I wish I grew up there." And I sat there afterwards and talked to him for about 5 minutes. Asked questions. He was the most humbling, respectful person I've ever met, quiet as can be, heaps chilled out. The dude's worth about 600 million. Has a worldwide brand, franchises, and he was so nice and respectful to me. It gave me a new perspective on everything again. Because I'm looking at this guy like he is like the absolute holy grail. And I went and met him, and for 3 times I screwed it up. And I eventually grew a set, went up and talked to him, and it's something I'll hang on to. So like I said, whatever you want to do in this world, you can do it. I don't care whether you think it or not, someone will believe in you. You have to believe in yourself because you can do it. I'm living proof. I've come from here, I've been in these rooms. It can be done. It really can be. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate the time. I hope that you get something out of this. I know Peter's going to try and embarrass me here. He showed me some stuff before. But seriously, you're going to enjoy this time at school. You're going to look back and really enjoy it. So keep working hard and just keep getting better every day. So appreciate it.